Since the introduction of the Welsh curriculum in 1988, we have seen changes here and there, but is there enough? The Welsh education system is consistently in the papers, with headlines explaining that we're not doing a good enough job. With the new Welsh curriculum in its final stages of rollout, are we moving in the right direction? I travelled to North Wales to meet up with an expert in this field and to find out what he really thinks.
So I'm Graham French. I am the Deputy Head of School of Education at Bangor University. I mainly work on the outdoor education PGCE teacher education programme, and I do a lot of outdoor learning modules with undergraduate teacher education as well. So involving teachers is what I do. In the way that we deliver and we work with children and young people, the approach that individual teachers take has evolved and changed quite significantly. We understand a lot more about pedagogy, we understand a lot more about how children learn, and that means that we can be more effective, we can be more individualised in how we teach. And that's certainly the focus of Curriculum for Wales as it is now, to look at the opportunities that are available locally, to look across subjects, across areas of learning and experience, to say, let's not box learning into specific silos and say this is history, this is maths, this is English, but actually where are the commonalities? From a system perspective, I think I'm less confident that there have been changes. I still think we look to measure everybody by the same yardstick. We're still, I would say, obsessed with measurement. And often that's measurement in the cognitive domain, so it's about what you can think and know. Sometimes we think about measurement in the psychomotor domain, where we're looking at physical competency, but what gets ignored in all of that is the affective domain, the social, the emotional aspects of learning, and how not only they are complex and interact with those cognitive and psychomotor skills, but also how you might explicitly teach that, or intentionally teach that, I should say. It might happen by chance, it might happen along the way, but are there things we can do to intentionally help children and young people become members of society? We're certainly more aware now that there are a whole range of diverse needs that perhaps in the past we weren't aware of, and that one size fits all exactly doesn't do that. It doesn't fit all, in fact it doesn't fit many at all. So what hasn't changed is the way the system is quite restrictive in how it teaches and works with children and young people. As the young people are younger in primary school, there's a lot more freedom to do that, but as they come into secondary school they move towards that, or it's almost they're funneled towards a sort of exam output type approach, and there's an expectation you'll get so many A to C, A star to C grades, you'll get so many A levels if you stay on, or you'll get so many City Guilds or BTEC qualifications, you'll get an apprenticeship, you'll go to university. There's always an expectation that that is the measurement, if you like. Much of the literature, the research, the tradition actually of teaching and learning outside, particularly around aspects of adventure that have got some risk or some unknown aspects to them, is that it does intentionally develop these social and emotional aspects of learning. The outdoors offer something that you can't measure in that traditional cognitive or psychomotor output compliance type measure, but what you can do is you can see how children change how they think and feel, and one way you're going to do that is by asking them and actually accepting that children and young people have a viewpoint which is valid on its own, not through the lens or the filter of what I as an adult or a teacher think about it, or what I think they're trying to say, but actually listening to what they say about how they feel, how they think, and what they've done. When you take people out to have adventures, you can't always predict what the outcome's going to be. That's almost, for some people, that would be the definition of adventure, a journey with an unknown outcome. And various people have commented on that to various levels. But that whole idea that that's okay to happen, I think is something that young people need to experience, because in our society everything is regulated for them. We've still got this Victorian understanding that education is about a product at the end of it, and that comes back to the way that managers think of it, because they think in terms of value for money, and they think, well, what's the value of the product at the end of it compared to what we put in? And the answer is, you shouldn't be able to measure. Teaching them how to make decisions is far better than teaching them this is what the decision you should make is. But again, that's another reason where, or it's another area where outdoor learning, adventure education can really benefit young people, because it gives them that chance to make those choices themselves. You need to let them be independent in making their own decisions, in experiencing the consequences. We need to listen to children as they are children, not as what we think they should say or we think they should be doing. So if we actually want to hear children's voices, let's listen to them as opposed to listening to them and then interpreting them. I think there needs to be a significant investment in making sure that teachers both have the skills but also have the autonomy and support to make decisions about what they're doing in curriculum. So to be able to say the purposes of education are those 4 purposes, ethical, informed citizen, creative contributors, all that stuff, if they really are the purposes, then we should be measuring people, if we need to measure at all, against those purposes, not against some other measure like a GCSE. The research globally demonstrates that the highest performing education systems in the world don't have such punitive oversight. So places like Finland, places like Singapore, places like Ontario and Alberta and Canada, where it's often highlighted to us as teachers that these are great places to teach and learn. There's great support for the teachers, there's investment in their professional development. One other thing they don't have is inspection regimes. They trust teachers to manage their own profession. Trust those teachers who are professionals to make those decisions, and avoid or remove altogether the idea of oversight as quality when really it's compliance. Because all the time you've got compliance, you squash innovation. And if you want innovative, adaptive, individualised curricula, that's never going to happen where you've got a compliance model that says everybody's got to be doing the same. Well, it doesn't say everyone's doing the same, but it measures everyone to the same way.